Episode 2.
Episode 2, Cultural Cachet Podcast, Episode 2. My name is Boye, and I am the spook who stood on the roof. Very excited to have one of my favorite people in the world on episode number 2, Cultural Cachet Podcast, where we talk about the intersections of the hospitality industry, life in Chicago, and just culture at large, and how these worlds collide and how people navigate these worlds and make a world of their own. So this young lady I met when 2017, 2018. We were both ish. We were both working at Soho House at the time, and she quickly became one of my favorite servers and people. And I just remember we just used to have some of the best conversations about work, life, arts, aspirations, and dreams. And it was ironic that we both kind of made our exits into our next chapters around the same time.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So, she decided to take a chance on something that she'd been passionate about for a while. And I did the same thing. And, she was very instrumental in helping me in the next phase. And I've gone on and watched her do amazing things since then. And now that the podcast is on the way, I kind of want to get an update on where she's been, what she's been doing, and take this opportunity to introduce Ambercita to the world and to the podcast. So, Ambercita, how we doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
I feel like surreal that like this is your second podcast and you have me on here. Like this is really cool, especially because we're not like connected super, in depth every day all the time. That to be thought of in that way is super amazing.
Well, you're welcome. We are definitely connected energetically and frequency wise.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was making a list of all the different people that I had to have featured, you were definitely top of the list. It was a no-brainer. You kind of embody what the whole ethos of the podcast is. Obviously, we are hospitality focused, but we are very much spiritually, what's the word? Energetically focused, culturally focused, and we're into the arts and the creativity. And I think you just kind of embody all that. It just so happens that we know each other. So
yeah, and I think hospitality changed my life, honestly. So I think it definitely makes sense as well. Yeah. I remember when we both took the exit, and then I just remember telling my friends like, oh yeah, like me and Boy, we're both like doing our thing. We both left at the same time, So it was really cool to like be in parallel with you for such a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I also want to start a podcast, and now here you are.
Here we are. Right? Okay.
Crazy.
Nice. So, all right. So I know the story, but kind of want to go back a little bit further, even before when me and you met, and kind of tell everybody, maybe a little bit about your background, maybe not so much about your childhood, but, where you're from, how you got to Chicago. We want to start with how you got into the industry specifically, into the hospitality industry, and then we'll segue into the actually what you're doing now and what your second chapter was after the hospitality industry. So, tell us where you're from and how you kind of got into serving and being in the hospitality industry in the first place.
Yeah, so I came to Chicago because I went to Columbia College.
Okay.
So I was studying fashion business and marketing. And I was working there was a summer where I started working at Nordstrom, and then I started working at Molly's Cupcakes. So that was like my entry into the hospitality.
Okay.
And
What were you doing at Molly's?
So we were opening the first flagship or the first franchise by Navy Pier,
Okay.
right? So I started as a server,
Okay.
and then I started to do some like assistant manager position,
Okay.
and then they wanted me to be the general manager.
Okay.
But I decided against that. I left, and then my next hospitality experience was with the Kennison. So that's through Boca Restaurant Groups, but
Nice.
they're no longer a thing. It was like
Shout out to
connected.
Boca.
Yeah, it was connected to Hotel Lincoln or Lincoln
Okay.
Hotel.
Lincoln Park.
Yeah, so that was scary for me. It was like my first like serving position.
Okay.
You know, people are drinking wines. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about these foods that the chefs are cooking up.
Was
You
it a
know,
bougie crowd?
it was like it was a little bit bougie, but it was like a casual,
Okay. Okay.
casual dining.
Okay.
Like
Older,
so
like young professionals.
it was both. It was
Okay.
like older, but then it was like young professionals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a good mixture. Some hotel guests because it was connected to the hotel.
Okay.
People would dine there and then go walk like the Christmas lights
Okay.
at the
The zoo
zoo.
lights.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Lincoln Park zoo lights.
Yeah. So I grew as a server there, and then I left that for certain situations. And then I went straight to Soho, not knowing what Soho really was. I was just looking for a job.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where kind of like my life changed from there.
So, talk to me a little bit about, okay, you know, leaving was it Kensington?
Kennison.
Kennison,
Yes.
and then getting to Soho, right? Because a lot of people I talk to, kind of including myself, who get hired at Soho, I feel like a lot of us were like vibe hires, right? Where, you know, we just kind of fit the bill.
Yeah.
And it didn't really matter what we had done before. They just said, nah, you'd be a good look here. So you talk about not knowing what it was. And maybe at that point you didn't feel too confident about your experience or your abilities within the industry. But tell me about, you know, that application process and how you got hired there.
Right. Well, I definitely used Boca Restaurant
Nice.
Group
Okay.
to my advantage, you
Yeah.
know, both
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then I was also on my resume, I had wardrobing.
Okay.
So it's not like I wasn't an artist at the time. I was doing wardrobing for commercials and indie films.
Okay.
But I wasn't like super tapped in, you
Okay.
know. I was working at Adidas as well prior. I helped open the flagship, or yeah, I think it's a flagship store.
Okay.
In Wicker Park.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was there, you know. So when I kind of entered that community, a lot of the kids there were like artsy, you know. So then that's where it kind of started. That's where I met some people, but I still didn't. It wasn't at the level where I'm like, oh, Soho's a members club, you know. Like
Sure.
it just wasn't that. But I think at the end of the day, I think my energy is like very raw and authentic, and I think that probably helped the process. And since it is a members club, them wanting like people that can connect with the members,
Yeah.
I think was my advantage. So I'm assuming that's how it came about, you
Okay.
know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know we talked in the past about like your time at the Kennison, right? You talked about your time there, and you talked about some of the challenges you had with, kind of navigating that space, being that you didn't feel like you were necessarily like experienced enough to really navigate that space, but you did feel like you were getting mentored and getting some support from
Yeah.
leadership. Tell me a little bit about that story and what that looked like and why you still chose to leave, even though you felt like you were being, I guess, mentored through that
Right.
situation.
Yeah, so I felt very seen and appreciated when they recognized that, well, I wasn't the strongest candidate, but they still took the chance on me to be the server with them. So they actually took extra time to, pick me up to speed on being a server. A lot of the other servers have other restaurant jobs, had experience. But this was my first like fine dining experience, right?
Okay.
So my manager at the time, she would walk me through the menu, like this is what like chef has going on. Let's talk about the wines, like really helped me out. But I think things just like took a pivotal change once I really started to tap into my wardrobing career.
Okay.
Of course, it requires, your time to be on set and this and that, right? So I had a full set day that I had to be at, and they were just not okay with the fact that like I had this other thing happening in my life.
Mm.
You know, they very much wanted my availability to just be around them and what works for them. So after they saw that I had something else going on, they didn't really, you know, they were just like giving me more of a cold shoulder than anything, right? And it just didn't become like a very good environment. It felt very toxic with both the assistant manager and the manager, and I just felt like this wasn't fair. Like what, like, you know, like,
Yeah, for sure.
like this, the restaurant isn't like my whole life. Like I
Yeah.
have other things going on. I went to college, you know, and I don't think they understood that. So I think one day I was just like, no, I'm not gonna like continue this if like I can't be supported in other ways.
Yeah, you know, and the reason why I wanted you to share that, obviously I knew that story, but the reason I wanted you to share that because it is interesting that you went from there straight to Soho, because Soho is one of those hospitality environments where, like, you know, obviously it's a membership club for creatives, so they actually are looking for that creative element to add to your service background. But in most places that you go, it is the expectation that you don't have anything else going on outside of the workplace. And it's ironic, you know, a lot of creatives do work in the hospitality industry. Like a lot of your bartenders and servers, a lot of them have liberal arts degrees or passions outside of work or whatever the case may be. You too?
I personally have a liberal arts
There
degree.
you go.
Yes.
Right? There's something about the creative, artistic mind that gravitates to hospitality. Obviously, because you know it's a flexible way to work. You can always transfer and get different jobs. The hours are usually conducive to what you want to do. There's going to be like-minded people there. But in order for you to succeed, you kind of got to be 10 toes down for your server and your bartender
Right.
job. And once you kind of showed it, you've got a life outside of work. People start turning their nose down at you, looking at like, why
Yeah.
why are you not always available?
Yeah, and I think that was like the second time that I experienced that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, so you transition from that, you end up at Soho House.
I will say in between I was at Adidas.
Adidas. Okay,
Yeah.
so you got the Adidas thing going
Yeah.
going as well. You're getting your fashion and merchandising kind of chops, but you're also obviously having a good experience making good, decent money at Soho,
Yeah.
and obviously getting more connections. Let's dive into that Soho experience a little bit more. What did you enjoy about working there? How long were you there? And then then we'll get into how you transitioned out of there.
Yeah, so I guess like overall it was like a 2-year experience with COVID happening like in between that. But yeah, I remember the first day I was shadowing Nevin and our
Shout out to Nevin if he's watching.
shout out Nevin. He was serving a table where Jerry Lorenzo was sitting and Takashi was sitting.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just
this is your training day?
first day shadowing him like
Nice.
this. I'm just like, wait, what is
Where the hell am I at?
happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I'm seeing like the whole rooftop. There's a rooftop, there's a pool, I'm seeing like there's a bunch of like other creatives or whatever they do, they're like lounging by the pool enjoying life.
Must be nice.
Right, it must be nice. That's exactly what I was thinking. So then I was just like, oh, like it just intrigued me,
Okay.
like right now my life is a wardrobe stylist for indie films and commercials, and then I'm serving at Soho, and that's as like far as like my life was at the time. So it just became this thing of like, well, how do I do that? Sometimes you have to be exposed to be able to know that there's like different lives
Absolutely.
and opportunities out there. So I think that was like my exposure that I needed. And then so it is a members club. We're seeing these people all the time, right? So I'm not going up to the table and I'm not like, what's your order, buy. I'm making connections. I'm
sure.
building relationships. I'm getting to know them by name. They're getting to know me. They're asking me questions. They're the next day they're asking me about like the last conversation we had about, right? So we're building like real authentic conversations. And I think I was talking to interesting people, right? But then what did I have to show?
Right.
And
Did
I
you
think
feel like a certain level, like I almost like I'm not worthy, or like I need to like match this energy?
never that.
Okay.
Never that. I think it simply was just like a motivation
Okay.
to have something to show.
Okay.
You know. And then
And were you leading with like I do wardrobe styling?
wardrobing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I feel like I wanted to give updates that were better than what I was giving.
Okay.
Right.
So when you're off the clock, you're like really like diving into what you got going on outside of work, or
Not
does that
too
mean-
much. Not
Okay.
too much. I think okay. So I was also managing an artist at this time.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it I did what I could outside, but I think a lot of it felt like it happened at Soho.
Okay. Meaning like the updates were coming from.
It was like
conversations at Soho?
I think I was the people, like my network was growing there. Like I guess it did happen outside. I was because I was managing an artist. I was focusing like on I guess like the PR aspect for this artist, you know. But at the time I wasn't like shooting photos or anything like that.
Are we? Is this a secret? Are we not going to drop this artist's name?
I think he goes by Medine right now.
Okay.
His name's Abraham.
Okay.
So he's actually from my hometown.
Okay.
And
where's your hometown? Which hometown is this?
Indiana.
Where in Indiana?
Goshen, Indiana.
Goshen, Indiana.
Yes.
Okay. Shout out to Goshen.
So during this time, we're doing that, and I remember I would focus a lot on his image, right? And so that came with like documenting it and like how his image is presented to the world.
Okay.
And I remember he was like, "You're really good at this, like with the camera and everything. Like you should keep doing this." Okay. And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh, you ain't
sure.
believe it at the time?
No.
Okay.
I was just like, "Okay, yeah, sure, whatever."
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
So at Soho, I was very happy.
Okay.
I loved working there.
Word.
But at the end of the day, I've always felt different, right? I always felt like a creative. I always felt like I was meant for something bigger, right? But wardrobing was not satisfying to me.
Okay.
I was really good at it. I got a lot of great feedback while I was on the job, but it was a lot of pre-work, you know? You're at the lowest budgets. You know, when it comes to budgeting, like you're at the lowest tier, you're the least important.
Okay.
And then when it was all said and done, it just wasn't like it just didn't hit. It wasn't satisfying.
Okay.
You know, so I think that's also why like I started managing somebody, because it felt like something like that felt satisfying. You know, and it was at the time, but then COVID hit.
Okay.
Right.
COVID.
So
2020 BC.
yeah. So I'm loving Soho. I love it so much. I hated how much I love it because I knew that I was meant for something greater. But it was working out so good.
Yeah. Soho was great.
Yeah. Bree Smith. She was like one of the manager there, right? And I feel like I was her right hand girl. Like she was damn near mentoring me, you know.
Okay,
Like
so
she
you
was
found you another mentor.
Yeah, so she was like growing me within like the hospitality.
Word.
COVID hits, and I'm like, Bree, didn't you say I was gonna move to LA and manage the Soho warehouse out there? I just bought my car. Like, what's going on? You know. So we were like at that point. She's like, "Girl, I don't even know. Like, I don't know what to tell you."
No one knew at that time.
Yeah. So that was that situation. My ex, he came to stay with me, and my sister in Indiana, like literally from the day shutdown happened to the day that we left, and the whole time we were playing around with these cameras that he bought. They were film cameras, point and shoots.
Okay.
He was making like skateboarding videos of me. You know, we're playing with video.
You skateboard?
During that time. That time.
Okay.
he made a really cool video. We were vlogging, like we'd go to Arby's and I'd vlog us like eating, getting ice cream, like, you know, doing that. My sister was, she was still shooting outside. It's Indiana, so they were like still doing things outside, and so we would go to like her photo shoots with her because she's a photographer as well. And then so I'd bring my film camera that he had let me use, and I was just like dibble dabbling, you know, like, so I think that's where like the exposure came. And then there would be even times where like I would set up the shoot, like I would get like dressed up, I would do something, like create, like I would direct it, and then I would just have my sister shoot it for me.
Okay.
Like, okay, like do it like this, you know.
Was that did that feel like what you were already doing with this artist you were managing, or did it feel like you were doing something different at that point?
It felt different for sure, because I think it was. I think we were doing just like more raw. I don't know. It definitely was different in some ways. Maybe because a lot of it was of me.
Okay.
Right. So I'm directing a shoot and it's of me. We're doing a vlog. It's of me. The skateboarding thing is of me. You know.
But did it feel organic?
It definitely.
Or did it feel like you were exercising a new muscle, doing something?
It was, it felt both. I felt like I was exercising this muscle of being in front of the camera.
Okay.
But I was with my boyfriend at the time and my family, which are people that I felt completely safe with, right? So it's like I was in the safest situation to, you know, try out this new muscle.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So then COVID ended. Went straight to work, right? Moved back to Chicago, went to Soho, and hospitality at that time, the worst time to work in hospitality. To be dining at a restaurant was hard because the service was horrible, because there was little to no kitchen staff, or orders were, you know, backed up or whatever it is. There was so many problems within the production of things that it affected how I was feeling internally, right? I felt that I was getting blamed, that their food was taking forever and they couldn't enjoy their time, and they're spending money at this members club, and like it just felt like it fell all on me. I remember there was a point where like you had to take me to the back and be like, it's okay. And then I started crying, and you're there comforting me, you know. But that was beautiful, and I appreciate you for being a human and, you know, like not taking their side or whatever it is.
Oh,
you know?
I've always been against the system. So
So, so then I ended up kind of like falling out of love with what I was doing.
But before you go into the falling out of love, when you were, you know, quarantining, doing your side hustle, did you find yourself wanting to get back to work? Were you not thinking about work, or were you just like, this is what I wanted to do? Did you know this is what you wanted to do? I
think I was hoping to still like manage. I think
within artists or within hospitality?
No, within Soho. So I actually lost the artist. During COVID as well.
So you're looking forward to going back to Soho, getting back to work, and you get back there and it's a nightmare.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I experienced a similar thing.
Right.
I was getting kind of stir crazy. I was having a good time. I was in Miami with my family, and I hadn't spent that much time in Miami or with the family for so long. But after about 3 months, I was itching to get back to work, and then it was interesting when I
and then you became Eloise.
Who's Eloise? I don't know.
She lives in a hotel. She's like a
I definitely became Eloise. That's a whole nother. I should have vlogged that shit.
Oh my god! I thought you had the best life.
Yo, wait, who is Eloise?
So it's like this. It's a Christmas movie, and this little like rich white girl lives in the hotel basically, and like the hotel takes care of her because her parents are working. So yeah.
Yo, it's
and
wild.
You became Eloise.
Yo, it's wild. You said, you know, and we're gonna touch on this because this ties in with something else that we spoke about earlier. You thought I had the best life. Yeah. I thought I was homeless. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was homeless. I know it looked like a flex. It definitely was a flex to tell everybody to come visit me at Soho because I was living there. I lived at Soho for 6 months, right?
Yeah,
And
they also cleaned his room.
Clean my room.
Come
Oh,
on,
hell yeah.
come
Need that.
on.
Check this out. But check this out. So when we came out of quarantine, first of all, we all know we was getting, the bomb ass unemployment checks out during quarantine. So it was cool because I was getting paid to not work. But the crazy thing is when I got back to work, they were garnishing our wages, and we were only getting 75% of our original pay. And at that point, long story short, my lease had ended. They shipped me off to Miami to go work for Art Basel. When I came back to Chicago, I didn't have an apartment anymore, and they wanted me to get right back to work. So the 2-3 weeks that I needed at Soho turned into 6 months, right? So I ended up being there for 6 months. And it was weird because I definitely had my fun. You know what I'm saying? I was definitely having fun, but the whole time I'm thinking like, I'm a loser. I'm homeless. I ain't got a crib. And it was funny. You said that I was living my best life. I remember I was getting flooded with so many opportunities and so much love at that time, but I couldn't really just enjoy it like fully because I was too worried about the things that I didn't have as opposed to just being grateful and enjoying all the things that were coming at me at that time. I was getting DJ gigs. I was getting sneaky links. I was getting free merch. I was getting
Sounds
all
like the life.
yes.
Yeah.
But it was just weird. I wasn't in a mental state to actually.
I feel like I
enjoy
could
and receive
relate
it.
to that in my situation now.
Yeah.
I think like if I wasn't so vulnerable on my online presence now saying that I'm not good, I think people would be like, oh, she's living the life. She's traveling. She gets to go everywhere. She's doing this and that. She's working with all these artists. Yeah. But that's not the case. I feel homeless,
So check this out. So this is a good segue into that artist journey, right? The journey of the creative, right? Here you are at Soho. You have a steady job. You're getting a steady paycheck. You're dealing with all this other bullshit and all this toxicity and all this angst that everyone's bringing to you because they're dealing with it too post-COVID. So your ideal work environment is no longer ideal. So now you got to pivot. You got to do something else. So how did you get out and what did you decide to do? How did that play out?
So because of Soho, first of all, coming back, I'm like, well, I think photography is something that I could tap into, right? So I put a little setup in my kitchen because it's the only space that made sense for me. I put the backdrop in there and I started doing photo shoots. And at the time, I thought what was going to happen in my photo career was I thought I was going to hyper focus on women, more like intimate shoots. I thought I was going to do a lot more self-portraits of myself. I thought I was gonna, be like very Playboy-esque, vibes.
Sounds like a hit.
Right.
That sounds like the move.
And then I did some shoots like that. That's like how it started. I got some people from Soho, that wanted to shoot, shot them. It was great. But I just remember like I started to do events because one of my friends, Raspy, and shout out Raspy, amazing artist. So she was like, you're gonna shoot my, what is it called? Like when they ask their friends to be a part of the wedding party.
Bridal party.
Okay, so she asked me to shoot this and I'm like, oh no, like I don't do that, like I'm a creative. I'm more at the studio, and she didn't let me say no. Okay. So I got to experience my first event photography. It was a beautiful dinner at Soho House, candle lit. I loved it. Okay. I had a great time. I was like, wait, I get to capture a moment for you and everyone is happy here and everyone looks good. And it was just such a vibe. Okay. So she introduced me to event photography. Okay. And from then on, in my mind, I remember I was like, I'm gonna be the best event photographer Chicago has.
Okay.
And I remember I was at Soho. I went to the bathroom and I changed I was like, let me see if Ambercita is available.
Okay.
I changed that and I was just like, no way it's available. I felt like a change in that moment. I felt like this was the next chapter to my life.
Why Ambercita?
So there's a few people that called me that in my career. I was working at BCBG Max Azria. There was a girl there. She would call me Ambercita.
Okay.
And then there's some cooks that would call me Ambercita at Soho House.
Yeah.
So honestly,
Cooks
they
gotta
gave
give
me
you a pet name.
Always. So and they would like I was the AM shift. They would make sure I was eating. You know. And especially being able to speak Spanish, I think that's where like they find familiarity and
food is the back of house love language all the time.
Yes,
man. They like you, they make sure you get fed.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. So they gave me a lot of love and they gave me the name, honestly.
Okay.
So I guess that's another reason like why Soho was so like pivotal in my life.
For sure.
And what was I saying?
Well, you telling me about when you went in the bathroom and then you changed the name to Ambercita.
Oh yeah, so then Raspy again comes in and she's like, "You're shooting my wedding." Okay. I'm like, absolutely not.
Oh, you were still resisting at that point?
I'm like, that's a lot of pressure.
I'm not a wedding photographer. Yeah,
no, I'm like,
events.
that's a lot of pressure. Come on.
Okay. So you just felt like it was a big.
Yeah.
You didn't want to not capture her big moment. The right way. Okay. But she was insistent.
Yeah, and
she wanted.
It's like she saw something in me before I even could see it. You know. But she again didn't take no for an answer, and I shot it, and I was like, oh, I just did that, you know, and I shot both film and digital. During this whole time, I'm shooting both film and digital. Okay. I start off obviously as with film when he had brought in those cameras, but then I think when I came back, I wanted to like learn how to shoot in studio and everything, and I felt like film just felt like such a challenge to do that, you know. Learned some digital. I would call my sister in the kitchen like, my flash isn't working, like can you fix this? She would walk me through it, and like and I will say one of my biggest growths happened because I wasn't scared to be seen as I didn't know what I was doing, because at the end of the day there's somebody in front of me that I'm shooting and I'm the professional, right? But I wasn't scared to like call my sister and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, like how do I do this, you know?
No, but shout out to the role that the people who see things in you that you don't see in yourself. Shout out to the role that they play in your life. Shout out to the role that the mentors play, the people that you can call on and be like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Real.
Talk me through this. But also shout out to you for like going for it. You know what I'm saying? All those things have to come together in order for you to actualize whatever the fuck, whether it's in the restaurant industry or whether it's in your personal career. You got to go for it, right? But it also helps for you to have people encouraging you, and it helps to have people who have done it kind of guide you through it, and so you can learn from their mistakes, which is kind of one of the themes that is going to be continuous as we do more episodes and have more conversations, because we all experience these things, but we're not always necessarily deliberate and intentional about finding the people and making the leap. We're usually just going through the motions, trying to get to the next day or, you know, figure things out. But like all those elements have to come together in order for you to, you know what I'm saying, like achieve almost anything in life, you know.
That's so real. Yeah. And actually, like, I think that like made me think of the moment that like I mentored somebody, Evelyn, for the past year, and like, you know, and she just had her first solo show, and just like to see like the full circle of everything, you know. Absolutely. Of like now I'm in this position, now I'm able to do that for others and see what they don't see, and like all of that. Okay, that's really cool.
So we got the, you know, the good side and the beautiful side of like, okay, I've decided what my next move is. I'm out of the service industry. Now shit's about to get real, obviously. You're doing this full time. Everyone's looking at you as a photographer whether it's creative or event photography. Talk to me about that journey when you started growing that career and growing that muscle. Did you experience any new challenges with being full time? What were the new highs, the new lows, the new successes? I want to hear a lot about that journey, because we're talking like what, late 2020, early 2021 at this point is when you're starting to just really get into it.
Yeah.
So that was what, 5 years ago. Kind of catch me up to speed about how that process went.
Yeah. So
And I know we worked together a lot in that time,
Right.
but obviously you were doing all kinds of things. So
yeah.
yeah.
I definitely was doing a lot, and I think like it felt like I had so many advantages.
Okay.
Right. So, and I don't take those for granted. And like, I feel like I always encourage people to, pursue art as a career. But I also recognize how hard it is. And I do recognize the advantages I've had. Right. So, so as I was exiting Soho House, for one, the director of North America invited me to attend Soho at any point and bring my camera at any point and shoot whatever I wanted, right?
Okay.
And then Abby at the time was doing Soho Friends, right?
Okay.
So they were doing events, and they offered me.
Shout out to Abby.
No, shout out Abby.
Got to get Abby on the show for sure.
Yeah.
Abby. She's on, don't worry, she's on the list too.
Yes.
I know she got a crazy
Yes.
story, but yeah, definitely. So she's doing Soho Friends. You're helping out with that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have me do a interview, like a live interview setting, where I'm speaking to Abby, and I get to have a gallery.
Okay.
So right off the bat, I just started my career, and I get a gallery, art show, live interview at Soho House. That's a huge advantage, right? So then I'm working with my friends. They have some brands, right? I'm doing some cool stuff there. I meet Kevin Woods while working at Soho. Somebody was just like passing by and was like, hey, there's my friend, he has a shop, it's called The Pop-Up, he's really cool, y'all should connect. And then he disappeared. And this is why I love, Soho, like it's just a very quick, like people are down to connect others, right? So
you're dropping a lot of names. Shout out to Kevin Woods and The Pop-Up too, because that was a huge movement in Chicago.
Right.
And, it's still they relocated, right? Or are they still?
Yes, but they keep getting broken into.
Oof,
so yeah.
All right, well, Chicago going Chicago, we know that.
Yeah.
But no, definitely want to get Kevin on the podcast as well. But all right, so you connect with Kevin at Soho Friends.
So I just pop a squad next to him, and I'm just like, yo, I hear you have a shop. I'm down to work. If you're down to work, like let me know what's up, So he's like, all right, bet, like I'll hit you up. And he does hit me up, and I start doing product photography for him.
Okay.
So I have this small little gig that I have going on. I'm living with my boyfriend at the time. I'm paying $350 in rent.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
I have a small gig. I barely am paying rent. I don't even think I have a car at the time. Okay. So why not take the leap, right? What's really like holding me back? So I leave. I do that. I become the best event photographer, right? I'm everywhere. Yeah, people are seeing me.
You were definitely doing all my events at that time.
And then I threw a show at Tribe Supper Club.
Yeah.
So
I was
I'm
looking at those
pushing
pictures
myself.
earlier today, by
They're
the way.
fire, right?
I was going through my camera roll and I was like, yo, that was a moment.
Yeah. And being able to push myself so much so quickly was the best thing I could have done, right?
Okay.
A lot of that, I think, came from not being scared to be perceived,
right?
Of not knowing what I was doing, of failing, or whatever it was, like I was telling you, I'm like, me going up on stage at the Tribe Supper Club was so scary to me.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to do that. You know, I knew that when I was at Soho, I knew the only way I was gonna be sitting in those chairs enjoying the pool on a Tuesday was if I got out of my shell and started networking.
For sure.
You know? Because I used to be very shy.
Okay.
I was terrified to speak in front of people,
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
and now I couldn't be the most social butterfly. I could go
Yeah.
up to anyone, you know, so
Okay.
just to see like that difference, but it really was the push that I gave myself. So yeah, I had all these advantages. I did that. And then
I kind of want to put a pin in that real
Yeah.
quick, though. You talk about these advantages that you have, right? And when you say that, you know, it goes back to kind of what I was saying earlier about, you know, when I was there and getting all these opportunities while I was working, living in Soho. And, you know, these advantages, you know, was there any imposter syndrome? Did you feel like you were getting advantages, or did it ever occur to you that you earned and you worked for those advantages? Did you ever feel like, did you ever own that this wasn't just given to me? I actually did what I had to do to put you don't get those advantages if you don't take that server job, right? You don't get that placement if you don't quit your server job, right? You don't get a gallery if you don't pick up a camera and start taking pictures. So, I'm asking you in this moment, or I'm asking you now, but back then, did it occur to you that you weren't just getting advantages, that you actually created?
no, it
Yeah?
did not occur to me at all.
And it goes
Yeah.
back to what I was saying earlier about, people on the outside. You said I had the coolest life or whatever. I felt like I don't really deserve all this. I don't deserve free housing. I don't deserve free gifts. Like I need to get out of this situation and, get it from the mud again and earn everything, not realizing that everything I did up until that point earned me those advantages
Right.
and privileges. So I just wanted to put a pin in that, because I think it's an important moment for us to highlight, because we can repeat these patterns again, and start trying to find a way to justify why you shouldn't have what you have, instead of just owning it and being like, I put myself in this position. Even if you think the universe gave it to you, right? You still had to walk those steps to get to that point. So I think it's a teachable moment for everyone to not think they're cheating by getting advantages. Like you have to leverage these advantages, and if your shit is whack, advantages aren't going to get you to the finish line. You're still gonna have to show and prove. So I just thought it was important to kind of
No, I'm gonna go home and journal about that, because that's actually
that's one to grow on.
That's
for sure.
Yeah,
And I'm saying this,
and I'm just like wondering also what situation I'm in now, and like how I could look at that with a different perspective as well.
literally perspective is just turning that optimism into pessimism, or vice versa. Actually, that pessimism into optimism, that half empty to half full. You mentioned you're getting to travel now. If you're bogged down with a steady job, you can't travel, right? If you're have responsibilities that you need to take care of, you need to stay and face those responsibilities. So you may not have all these responsibilities, but it sounds like you got opportunities, right? So it's just a matter of looking towards the what you have and not what you're lacking, because we're always going to be lacking something.
Right.
So that would just be my advice, I guess. So all right, where we're at, on stage at Soho at a Tribe Supper Club, you're killing it in the event photography space. We're just riding this out. Did you run into some new challenges?
Yeah, there was definitely a new challenge. I feel like the biggest challenge that I can think of is working with other people and being a freelancer and having to be the one to take initiative, and not having it's not a job. They're not giving you like this like structure here and you're gonna follow this. It's like you have to like build that structure.
Okay.
And if you're not doing it, then it's not getting done. Nothing's getting done. And I think I ran into that problem like at the pop-up. There was like points where I was taking initiative, but then I feel like there was points like where I wasn't and it lacked and it could have been more, you know what I mean? And I think I battled with even how to communicate to the owners, right? On like what we could be doing or whatever, you know?
What does that battle look like? You didn't know how to communicate because you didn't know the words, you didn't know if it was your place, or you didn't know what it is you even needed to communicate?
No, yeah, I don't think it wasn't, because I'm very like, they're great people, like they're homies, right? So like, it's not that we lacked communication. I think I lacked structure. Like scheduling, like where's my time being spent? Like,
okay.
Because at the end of the day, like I'm still a full-time freelancer at this point. I gave myself an artist in residency at this at Modern Love Furniture so that I could use their space. And now I have like these projects going on here, and like I'm just having fun. I'm just experimenting. So like I'm doing all kinds of things. I remember they gave me a project with Rob. He was like dip dyeing shoes, right? Rob Valentino. And I don't think I ever even delivered them the video, right? I was just like taking like too many jobs or projects or whatever it was, and it wasn't fully being executed.
Is it safe to say you needed like an assistant or a manager at that time? That was what you,
yeah.
So
I
it's
didn't
more
know
like
how to work.
You couldn't structure your life and your work life because you were just taking on all these different things, and it was a little overwhelming at that point.
And actually saying that out loud.
Yeah.
That's still my problem.
Yeah.
And Evelyn is like, you know, my biggest help, and like, you know, she does everything that needs to be done when I ask her to, but even having to delegate that is a job, right?
Yeah.
And having to build a structure behind, you know, what's happening is a whole job. So it's like, that's something I'm still struggling with.
Did you you alluded to it in our prior conversation, but did you feel like anything you experienced at Soho or any of your previous jobs prepared you to have a more structured workplace, or even helped you get the success that you did get? Because structure is important, but the structure in the hospitality industry is kind of the same no matter where you go. You got your SAs, you got your bar team, you got the servers, you got the floor managers. So the structure is already, it's cut and paste everywhere you go. But when you're in freelance life, if you're new to it and taking it from an entrepreneur standpoint, if you're not working for an agency or joining a team, there probably is no structure. So you're saying it now, but at that time, is it safe to say you didn't realize that that's what you needed?
Right. Yeah.
Did you realize
I gained
that you didn't
people
have structure?
skills. You know, I gained like things. I gained like. I thought I had all the tools I needed.
Got you.
But I definitely did not.
That is part of that leap of faith, right? You jump regardless of if you have.
Right. Because you don't know until you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you've got all these other projects. You've got all this work.
And I dipped to Mexico.
So that was your solution?
And that's literally, I ran away. I dipped to Mexico.
Okay.
I stopped going to Modern Love, my artist residency.
Okay.
And I basically quit the pop-up without telling them.
Got you. You just flee the scene.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to me about Mexico. All right. What happened in Mexico? Why Mexico? And what happened while you were there?
Yeah. So this first time I went, it was I went with my dad, and he hadn't been there in, well, both of us at the same time, but it's been like over 20 years probably. Like it's been a long time. I hadn't been there since I was probably like 4.
Okay.
So that was the last time that I was there, and there was, like all these reasons why we didn't go back. And honestly, a lot of it is because he watches the news and the propaganda, and like he thought it was dangerous and all this. So right.
I can relate. I'm Nigerian, and I just went a couple of weeks ago. I hadn't been in over a decade, kind of falling for the psyop of it's not safe to be there, So
and then we go and we're like, what were we doing?
We
wasted our time. Like, we could have been connected with our roots.
For sure.
So and I think at the time it was just like, like I loved being there, and I was enjoying, but I think like we started to go back more often, and I started to go a little bit more than him. And then I realized, and this was like more recently, I was living in my loft over here, but then I realized, am I cutting too forward? But I realized,
no, we can always reverse if we need to.
Okay.
So you're going to Mexico, you're making multiple trips to Mexico.
Yeah.
Right.
And now at this time, I'm in my loft studio.
In Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
wait, you fled the scene. You visited Mexico. You realized that it wasn't that bad after all.
Yeah.
What does coming back look like?
Yeah,
are you coming back
I didn't have jobs, basically.
Okay.
I didn't have work.
Okay.
I had events, right?
Okay.
And I was doing decent with events. Like, it was still coming in.
Okay.
And then life happens.
Okay.
Right? My boyfriend at the time, where I was paying $350 to nothing, is now about to become my ex.
Ooh,
right?
Okay. Heartbreak.
Yes. So now during this time, I move out, and I don't really have like a spot that like I'm like in between a lot of things, right? During my in-between spot, I don't have a studio that I'm shooting at.
Okay.
I don't really have a home. And so I get contacted by, what is it called? Modern Notoriety.
Okay.
And they reach out and they want to do a shoot with, it's like a bunch of different photographers get one pair of shoes, and we all display it at an art gallery, right?
Okay.
So now I'm shooting on location at somebody's house. I bring my team on. I have a hair person, makeup person, studio soul. She goes crazy. I have somebody doing the installation for me. I have somebody doing detail. Like I have my team, and I execute that, and it feels not too like. I feel like I stood out.
Okay.
During
From
the gallery.
other photographers.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that moment during that show, I was getting so much affirmation from the other photographers, telling me that they are all inspired by me.
Okay.
And these are photographers that have been in the game, right?
Okay.
So I'm just like, oh, well, I've been doing at this time, 2 to 3 years, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, y'all are inspired by me, but I'm looking at it and I'm seeing why.
You're like, my shit's hitting different.
Right.
Okay.
So from then on, I started to do more installation shoots, editorial shoots. I'm bringing storytelling into my photography. So now it's not just events. Okay. Now I'm doing storytelling, narrative. Like I'm creating different worlds in my photos, and that is all done with my people. Okay. That I have a team behind that. I have Anna. I have Serena. Okay. Like I have everybody that I'm working with. So that I think like that became a pivotal time in my art career, and I think a lot of that had to do with like me not having space and me working with what I got. Because now I'm not doing a studio. Now I was like working in somebody's home, you know. So now I'm doing on location stuff. Then I'm viewing apartments because I'm decent. I'm doing okay for myself. Okay. I'm viewing apartments, and it's difficult because I've never had a place to myself. Okay. For the time that I honestly can't like time wise remember how long it was. I want to say it's like 6 months from when I left my ex to getting my own spot. Okay. And me and my ex were like still talking at the time. I show him this loft, and he's like, "You have to get it." Okay. And I'm like, "Oh, well, I already decided. Like, no, because it's in the West Loop, and then I have to pay parking. I have a car. Like, that's a bit much. And he's like, "You have to get it." Okay. And I'm just like, okay. And I listened, you know, and I got it. And I'm so glad that if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had it, you know. And I'm so grateful that he like pushed me to do that.
Yeah. Once again, people pushing you to take that leap of faith that you're scared to take yourself.
And just thinking about like how it was very like photo driven prior, and then just thinking about the end. Like I was only there for a year, so to see like the end of my time at the studio, which ended this past February, completely different, like in like where my career has been going. But yeah, so I'm still thriving. I'm traveling. I'm living in a loft. I'm traveling to LA every other month. I'm traveling to Mexico. Like I'm doing so much. I'm like, how I would sit in my studio and be like, I don't know how I got here. But I know it's not gonna last. Like I know that this moment, I'm not gonna have this moment forever, and I enjoy it fully, and I appreciate it fully, and I take it for what it is. But I'm not attached.
When you say you're not attached, right? Once again, is this like you feel like it's too good to be true, or you feel like
not
there's something better for me?
No, neither.
Okay.
I think life is full of changes.
Okay.
That's it. Life are just seasons, and every moment that I've had in my life is not a forever moment, right? So that's all that was like really coming to me. Like, you know, whether I was like gonna keep going up, whatever it was, like I just knew that this apartment wasn't always gonna be mine. And that's all I knew. But I knew that it was the best thing I could ever. Yeah, I was fine with that. But I just like sat in that and I enjoyed it so much, and I did enjoy it. I spent hours not sleeping, right? I was doing yoga every single night, no matter what. I would be working till 3 a.m. Well, it's time to do yoga. And then I could go to bed, right? I was cooking for myself and for everybody around me. Like I was throwing events. I was doing all the things I could have possibly done to enjoy this place.
Okay. So why did that ever have to end, and how did that end?
Yeah, so
unless there's other context you want to give me before we go that route, because once again that just sounds like ideal scenario. Why not just keep that going?
Right.
You know, why not just do another year there and do 2-3 more years there? Why not that just be the move and the lifestyle? I know that it takes some work to sustain that, but you already admitted that you knew it was temporary. Why didn't you embrace the idea of that being more your new normal?
Because the universe had other plans for me. In order for me to grow,
you had to
my
things
next
had to change.
Things had to change. And I didn't expect to change because it happened so abruptly. So kind of like walking a few steps back, after I became the best event photographer in Chicago, I got bored.
Okay. On to the next.
Okay, you know, right. I'm like, so what next?
On to the next, yeah.
You know, and it's a little tiring doing events, right? It's like nightlife, flash, that, you know, it's like, it's hard on my back, my hand, carpal tunnel, you know, it's, you know.
And shout out to you, because your turnaround time was phenomenal too. Like, I feel like it was less than 48 hours anytime you did one of my events. I had those pictures immediately. So you were putting in the work. You were working hard. And
I mean, I had a great setup. I had a whole studio to myself that I could work at. I could walk around in my studio if I needed to take a walk. I could stop and do yoga. So I had it good, you know, like it was a great place. And for me to be able to work, I have to have like a good environment to work. I can't work around chaos.
Got you.
You know?
Got you.
So after that, I'm like, I don't see this in my future, you know?
Okay.
So my strategy for getting the jobs that I want, y'all listening? My strategy for getting the jobs I want is I post what I want to be hired for. Okay. It works every time.
Meaning like you simulate it and then you post it, or what do you mean post? Like, what does that post look like?
Yeah, so I I want to do event photography, so that's what I'm posting on the internet.
Okay.
Right? This is my portfolio. Instagram is my portfolio.
Okay.
Right? I'm wanting to do these more editorial shoots. I'm posting that.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's like been my strategy, right?
Okay. And it's worked out for you.
It's worked out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But since I'm over events, I don't really post it, right? Because it's like I don't really care for them. So why am I gonna manifest something that I don't really want to do?
Right.
So I'm like, well, I kind of want to shoot music videos now.
Okay.
And I have been talking to my friends for a while, or like people that meet me, or if they're an artist, I'll be like, yeah, I want to do music videos, but like, you know, casual talk. And then there was this day that I decided I'm gonna shoot music videos. Like, no, like it's happening.
Okay.
And the next day, Fat Fish Films, Jules hits me up. She's like, hey, do you want to chat, because I know you want to shoot music videos and I want to produce them for you.
Okay.
And then so we have a conversation. And then that same day, Moyana hits me up. Hey, do you still want to shoot music videos? Here's a song.
Okay.
And then I hear the song, and it's very much like embodies all the feelings that I'm feeling during this time of like my pivotal change. Okay. And so these are my signs that this is the correct decision. Okay. Oh, and actually what made me decide was because of Zig, the Mind.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I was at Classic Studios. We're watching music videos. He knows that I want to shoot music videos. Yeah. He knows I'm terrified, and I've been talking about how terrified I am. Okay. And he's showing me like a music video, and he's like, "Look," and he broke it down to me. He's like, "This is a photo." Okay. And it's moving. And then I'm just like, wait, that's it?
Pretty much.
I'm like, you know,
you
what
already
I mean?
do this, basically.
Yes. He's like, you have the eye, you know, now we just need some movement. We need production, a team, you know what I mean? And it was like his simple breakdown that killed like my fears.
Yeah. Yo, once again, just got to highlight that theme, man. Like, surround yourself with the people who are going to affirm the things that you want to do and the things that you're saying you want for yourself. Because as much as you say these things out loud, it's that doubt that stops you from doing it. But if you say it out loud and you have the right people around you to mirror you, they're going to put it in front of your face and be like, yo, didn't you say you want this? And it sounds like literally that's what he did. He was like, just do it. So, okay. So
that happened.
Right.
At the same time, I'm also throwing events. Okay. So I'm doing art shows, I'm doing closet sales, I'm doing yoga sessions, I'm doing all these things. And
you still have your loft at this point?
Yes, no? This is all happening at Ambercita Studio. Okay. And I realized, I'm like, well, what I love is to shine light on artists. Right, especially Chicago artists, and I'm doing that in other ways that isn't taking their picture. Okay. So that's cool. That's something new to me, you know. So I run with that, and I throw these events, and I become very successful in this. Okay. You know, from the very first one where I'm doing the hosting, I'm doing the shooting, I'm doing the promo, I'm doing the idealization, I'm doing everything. And it's just so overwhelming, and it takes me a week to recover. But yeah, I'm still shooting every single day, you know? Sure. Like, I'm doing all these things. So I'm burning myself out, but I'm growing. Yeah. Although no matter how I'm feeling, I'm still going to put my best foot forward. Absolutely. So I'm growing. The very last event happened in February, the day before Valentine's Day. Okay. It was called Hearts and Harmonies. And actually, full circle, I had the after party at In Session, which was Tribe Supper Club. Yeah, so I proved to myself how successful and how good I am at producing events in the most beautifully intentional way possible. And I think I needed that. Like during the last one, it was just the most satisfying feeling of I have a whole team behind me to help me. It sold out. It was like the highest ticketed sold one. You know what I mean? Like I really did that. You know? And so to be able to execute that, I think was very satisfying. But okay, so now my head is music videos. My head is events, which everything is out of pocket. Everything is out of pocket.
Which is tough. Which is a tough way to go about it.
It's tough. So I'm paying the rent, and then I'm also paying for this, and you know, like I'm not like charging people, you know, to come into the doors. Like, you know, I'm just doing it. And then where my money comes is the events, right? So that's getting smaller and smaller. And
because you've got so many expenses?
No, because I'm not getting booked.
Got you.
I'm not getting booked because I'm not marketing myself. I'm not putting myself out there. I'm not networking. I'm not saying hi.
Because you're overwhelmed with all the other things you're doing?
Because I'm completely distracted. It's almost like I forgot to work.
Okay.
I forgot that I have to pay the rent and bring income, right? And at the beginning, I had a heavy weight on me of like, how am I gonna pay rent? And it kept decreasing because I kept paying rent. So I was like, oh, this is fun. I can do this. But then towards the end, it's like it was that all over again. It's like, how am I gonna pay my rent? My sister paid my last 2 rents. You know, so it was like almost like a blessing in disguise that like I received this notice that I could no longer renew my lease because it was up in February. And he's like, you could leave because of these events I was having. Somebody new moved in upstairs, and he wasn't rocking with it. So he's like, you can move next week. Like they're ready to have me done. And I'm like, damn. I called my cousin that day. I said, I'm moving to Mexico.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Y'all are getting what you want, you know, because they've been trying to convince me. You know.
And that was earlier, what, 2025? This is March, February 2025?
This is February 2025.
Okay.
And this was after, so November, December, January, I was completely burnt out. Got you. My health was not good. I wasn't sleeping because I was worried about how I was gonna pay rent. It was not good, and it's crazy because a lot of new people had came into my life because of the empire that I built on my own, and they came into my life during a time where I was at my lowest. Right. But anybody in my life during this time is carrying me. Got you. Right? Got you. Like I was not well. And I'm honestly still not like fully well, right? But yeah, during that time was really rough. So I think it was like what I needed. And I remember at my last event at Hearts and Harmonies, multiple people, we were in the bathroom, multiple people that were very close to me was like, you outgrew this place. Like you need a bigger place. Like you know, like you're big, like this is getting big. And I was like, in that moment I was like, really? Once again, like I love this intimate. You're
not seeing your true potential, and you're not seeing yourself the way the outsiders are seeing you. You're still kind of seeing yourself smaller than you appear to everybody else.
So I lose a spot, and the move out process was really hard for me. Like it was the biggest heartbreak I could ever have. It was a lot. Like I got rid of everything. I was like, you know, just like crashing out there. I'm like, get rid of everything. Like, you know, like I don't need anything. And I remember that like I couldn't see like the future. Like I couldn't see anything. Like there was just a blockage. Like I didn't know what was gonna happen, right? And I remember it was like my apartment was almost empty, right? And I had Javi, my cinematographer, he's sitting like across from me on the couch, and he's like, you're gonna do, your future is so big, like I see like such a big future for you, and like he's seeing like this big future, and I'm seeing nothing. And there was a crazy like moment for me, because I was like, well, even if I don't see it, at least my team sees it. Because I needed that. Because if you know, like if he didn't say those words to me, like I think I would have felt lower than But I felt like seen. I felt taken care of. I felt like like if they could see it, I'm good. It doesn't matter. So I think I still kept putting my trust in the world. So I left. I went to Mexico for just a month. Actually, it's all I could do. I thought I was gonna be there a lot longer, but I realized a couple things. I realized that I needed to be around artists that lived, breathed this.
There wasn't enough of that in Mexico.
And I think there's also not a lot of that where I'm at now in Indiana, which is why I'm like, I have to take an exit plan. And I'm realizing I can't be, around not that.
I mean, you're a true artist and true creative, and you got to keep feeding that part of you. So where do you go for that? What does that exit strategy look like?
So I come back to Mexico, and I come back to the States, and the plan was for me to come back because it's my birthday month. So I'm just coming back.
Oh yeah, shout out to Taurus. You're Taurus too, aren't you? Yeah. Taurus gang.
So I come back for a little bit, and the plan was to go back. I still had some stuff out there, and I remember my aunt. She's like, she ain't coming back. And I'm like, what you talking about? And then, but I knew, but also I think like I also didn't believe I was coming back. Like I think like I wanted to go back because that's what I said I was gonna do.
We talking Mexico? Or we talking
Mexico?
Okay, yeah.
But not because that's where my heart is, and I feel like that is a home to me. I really do. But it's not where I need to be. Like, this is my home.
Chicago do that to you, man. You every time you try to leave, it just pulls you back in, and there is something special about this environment, and obviously the experiences you have and the things that you've done here, to where like you kind of got to honor that and keep building on what you started. But you do sometimes need to separate yourself, because it can be very draining being out here. So
and I feel like
can relate to that.
I do get to separate myself. Like I after I came back, then I left almost right away. I went to Sacramento. I spent some time with Serena out there, and we would go to LA. Like it's like I do get to separate myself. And then I do get to come back. And I feel like right now I'm in a situation where I'm like, do I have to separate myself for a little bit? I think I'm in that like deciding factor, I guess, of things. But yeah, so I think that kind of just leads me to where I'm at now. So that happened, during February, March, April, May, all throughout the summer. And it's been tough. For the last couple months is the only time where I'm like, I felt like I've had a home. Right? So I've been couch surfing. I've been staying at people's cribs. And that's why I would like to go to like Sacramento. I'm like, well, at least like I could chill here, and I don't feel like, I'm visiting Jonas in LA. So it's like, I feel like at ease when I'm like traveling to other places to visit, because then it doesn't feel like I'm in my home in Chicago, but I don't have a home. That's a crazy feeling to have.
No,
especially in a home that I gave so much, where my heart is poured into, and everything I gave my soul to, and it's a really horrible feeling. So I have a lot of times where I'm in my car just crying like just crying, but also crying for good. You know, I would sit in my car, and I say this all the time, and think about how blessed I am to have Evelyn in my life, you know,
sure.
and how blessed I am to have like somebody like her here, and to really still continue to help me with what I have going on, and still to believe, you know.
Yeah.
And just everybody in my corner is so strong, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I'm struggling, I'm battling,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm so blessed,
Yeah.
and I'm humble in that, and I'm so content with life at the same time,
Yeah.
because I'm not just looking at the negative things that I don't have.
Yeah.
I'm looking at every single positive that I have.
For sure.
I'm looking at my family being my complete support system. Like, nobody is my biggest supporters than my family, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of my friends behind me. And I'm very particular with the people that I keep around me,
Right.
because they really have to align with me, you know? But that's just because I'm like protecting what I have here, you know?
Yeah. So, just so many, your story is so inspirational, and it's so, there's so many gems and things to take away from it, right? We talked about the theme constantly about having a good community, having people around you that are going to push you in the right direction, people who are going to mentor you, people who are going to see you in a way that you need to be seen when you don't see yourself that way. And now that you're in this space, right? You've got the Sacramento connection, right? You see yourself trying to reestablish yourself back in Chicago, and it's going to be on you to devise what that plan looks like and keep going through the necessary steps to figure out a way to be back in Chicago in the context that you want to be back in. But when you look back and reflect on everything that's happened, right? The highs, the lows. What would you say for you are the, maybe just like give us like two lessons that you're like, you know what? Now that I've gone through all of this, these are my two biggest takeaways from where I succeeded and where I failed, and that I'm going to use moving forward to like really kind of set myself up for success in the future. What are those two biggest takeaways you would say?
I feel like that's a huge question to ask, because like it's like something I have to journal about, but also at the same time I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is like, I will always continue to trust in the world.
Okay.
I will trust in my intuition.
Okay.
And I think putting that trust so heavily is what continues to give me the blessings,
Okay.
right? Because I'm not scared, like I just happen to be in this struggling situation, but it's not forever.
Sure.
Because it's inevitable that I'm going to make it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Not only do I see it, everybody around me sees it. And not only anybody around me sees it, people that I don't even know see it.
Okay. For
you
sure.
know?
For sure.
So it's like, it's going to happen, but I think like it's just to be able to trust in it and not move in fear. The world is going to serve you,
Absolutely.
It's going to take care of you.
Okay.
And I think I've been shown time and time again, especially with my apartment, how I said, like, at the beginning, I was so terrified and I had so much weight, but I kept trusting that, like, rent was going to be paid. And it was. Don't know how, you know, but it was. And, like, I think that helped me prove to myself that it was going to work out, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, like, trusting your intuition in how you're moving, who you're moving with.
Yeah. Okay.
I
like that for sure.
Who you're moving with.
Yeah.
Your team is the most important thing in your career.
Yeah.
As an artist. You cannot do it alone, first of all, and you cannot do it with the wrong people.
Yeah.
And you have to trust in your intuition that who you're around, it makes sense and it aligns with you.
Sure.
You know, and you have to be able to trust the people and to take weight off of yourself and delegate and continue to build through them as well. And being able to grow them and ensuring that you're growing each other. I think that's really important when it comes to growth. Equal value. Yeah, I think that's a really, really big takeaway.
No, those are solid for sure.
Yeah, I feel, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a good way to wrap up the podcast, right? Trust, be fearless and trust that you're gonna find a way, and be intentional about your support system and who you're moving with. I think those are keys that anyone can, hold on to as far as whatever it is they're dealing with, whether it be on their entrepreneurship, artist journey, or just moving in life in general. And, one of my goals for this podcast is, to show that, when we're in these spaces working together, especially in the restaurant industry and serving people, or just trying to get by or trying to further our career, those of us who have passions and who have aspirations outside of the industries have really important stories to tell, and really important life lessons that we can teach everybody when we take off that mask or take off that facade of whatever it is your job title is. And you exemplify that more than anybody. And I'm so excited for what the future holds for you. Like I said, I met you as a server, and I saw how full circle you've come and done all these amazing things. Still going through your trials and tribulations, but it's part of the artist's journey, and it just kind of just refines you. It makes you just that much more dangerous when the big stage lights hit and whatnot. So I'm so excited for you. I thank you for being on the podcast. And, I'm looking forward to us collaborating again in the future, and revisiting this story and being like, yo, remember when we were talking about we don't know what's going to happen next? And now, look forward to making that announcement about the next big thing that you got going on. And, I'm just going to be supporting you all the whole way. So,
I appreciate you.
For sure. Appreciate you too. So that is the episode number 2 in the books. My name is Boye, once again, the spook who stood on the roof. Cultural Cache Podcast, episode number 2, and we are out.